crossbreds,
2 Corridales and 3 long wool.
McCarthy, and then 3 crossbreds from Bagshots.
All right, Ken, let's get those shearers back on the board, please.
The 2 Corries are waiting just for a moment. The fine wool section of this event, followed by 3 crossbreds to find us the finalists for this evening.
All right, at the start of this semi-final, ladies and gentlemen, we'd ask you to quiet and write down, and the shearers go in, and it'll be an eerie silence, something that you'll experience never again. This is what they do in the wool sheds, how they start, and we want you to have that experience here at the World Shearing Championships. All right, Ken. Let's have them back on the board, please.
Ask him.
Thank you, Ken. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get underway with Heat 1. So if you can just let us get them started, quiet and write down. They'll bring the first sheep out. We'll get them underway, and you'll hear it all start. Timekeepers ready. Judges ready. Competitors, get set, go. This is what you're going to hear when you walk into a blade shed. If you just stop and listen for a moment, we'll stop talking. As they start, you'll hear the blades.
The noise is terrific. Can you hear the click click of the shears? Well, you won't hear it because they've got a cushion on the shears to stop the clicking. It's too noisy when they're working. Who won the rugby last night, guys?
Just like you hear it in the wool shed, Ian. That's exactly how you hear when you walk into a blade shearing shed. But now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to cheer for these blade shearers, and I'm sure you do, if you come from Scotland, it's William Craig. He's on stand number 1. Kevin Ford from USA on stand number 2. Mark Armstrong from Scotland is on 3. Gareth Owen from Wales is the man in the red singlet with the dragon on his shirt. He's on stand 4. Sweeney from South Africa is on stand number 5, and Mike McConnell from New Zealand is there on stand number 6. So Ian, take us through this first lot. 2 Corridales, 2 fine wools. Let them hear you now because they can hear everything. There's no machines going for them.
Yes, and look at Mike McConnell down there. He and Gareth Owen have got away to a brilliant start, particularly when we've seen the South Africans performing so well and having the speed section of the shearing contest. And Swingweenie is just 2 or 3 blows behind them at this point in time, and that's unusual, but he's a slow starter and he just gets quicker as he goes. So this will be a very, very good contest, I'm sure, as these men swing onto the side of the animal, rolling it up to try and condense it as much as possible to make every blow as wide as possible, and they're dropping it down onto what is called a very short long blow. And Gareth Owen is shearing extremely well. So too is Mike McConnell, the New Zealand shearing champion. Mike McConnell is down onto that front shoulder. I think he's picked the first one to try and bustle or whatever you do. The South African shearer, and we're just going to see whether or not this works because, as I said, Shingweni comes from behind. He likes to chase someone, and then he really starts making an imprint on it.
Look at Kevin Ford from the USA. I've seen over the many years I've been to the World Champs, Ian, and he's certainly shearing as best he's ever done. Round the long blow he comes. Into the long blow goes Mark Armstrong. Gareth Owen from Wales is on the last side. We've got William Craig from Scotland on stand number 1, and he's into the long blow as well. Well, George, what do you think? The New Zealander down there on stand number 6 is leading the way at the moment, but that South African might be coming back at him.
He might be, but it's still that man, Mike McConnell, down there on stand number 6. Out the back leg he goes, but the South African Sweeney has opened up those big shoulders now, and he's going right out there as well. Who's going to get the drop first? Is it going to be 5 or 6? Is it going to be South Africa or New Zealand? Now might be the time, and it's New Zealand that is the host country. And out he comes with his second of his Corridales on the board. Sweeney from South Africa, he's right there as well. Don't forget Garrett Owen there from Scotland, a very experienced blade shearer, Garrett Owen. You have Mark Armstrong, the Scotsman, here on 3. Kevin Ford, all the way from the US of A, shearing on stand number 2. And Scotland's own William Craig, shearing on stand 1. And of course what you're watching here is the Olympics of blade shearing. What a spectacle this will be, and what an honour it will be for the top 6 to get through to the blade shearing final later on this evening. But it's Garrett Owen of Wales now. He comes out with the second of his Corridales on the board, and away he goes. It's all on here. The Golden Shears World Blade Shearing semi-final. But it's the New Zealander down there on stand number 6. He's already up the neck there now in his second sheep. He's really putting the pressure on Sweeney from South Africa here at the moment. He's hooking in. He wants to get this to this big blade final. He just doesn't want to get there. He wants to get there and win it. That's what he has in his mind, and that's what it's all about. South Africa's up the neck there as well on stand number 2. A bit of a wriggler there with Mark Armstrong, the Scotsman, on stand number 3. He settles her down and away he goes again. It's William Craig from Scotland here on 1. He's putting in the finishing touches to his first sheep there now as well, keeping the quality right. Kevin Ford is out the back leg as well. So it stands 1, 2 and 3 here. It's very close, but it stands 4, 5 and 6 down at the other end. It's another semi-final, but a semi-final of 2 halves here. And it's still New Zealand is opening up a little bit of a lead again down there. That man Mike McConnell on stand number 6. Kevin Ford from the USA, he comes out there. And Scotland's own William Craig, he's out on stand number 1 as well. Mark Armstrong, the powerful Mark Armstrong, he'll be there, and very soon he'll be in for sheep number 2, so it won't be long till we'll see all the competitors with our second sheep out on the board. But the real battle is on down there with Sweeney from South Africa and Mike McConnell from the host country down there on stand number 6. They turn together and come down the last side. And New Zealanders, if you want Mike McConnell to get there, you might as well get behind him now at the very start and make sure you push him to the limit. He wants to get through to this big Golden Shears World Blade Shearing Final.
And look at the time, 6 minutes for 2. That's around 120 sheep a day pace that these men are doing at the present time on very, very full wool Corridales. So that's a very good shearing, very fast shearing as down the last side becomes Shingweni. I think he's taken over the lead, and on Mike. Mike will be desperate to try and contain him, but they're going to move now onto the crossbreds. The first of the crossbreds will come out onto the board. This is the last Corridale to be shorn by these 2 on stand numbers 4, 5 and 6. On stand number 3 we got Gareth Owen. He's hanging on with them. He's lost a little bit of the pace with the second sheep. Mike Armstrong. Into the pen goes Shingwenzi. He's on the crossbreds now, and we'll just see whether or not he increases this lead. Mike McConnell into the pen for his second one, and I was very pleased to see, and this is the comradeship we have in our industry, that Mike McConnell was in the back there helping the guys sharpen their shears. He's a very skilled man. He's an expert on setting and sharpening shears, and I'd see him there giving some help to some of his fellow competitors that he'll be shearing against. And this is the hallmark of the comradeship that develops in World Championship shearings, the coming together and sharing these knowledge and these skills. And I must congratulate Mike on helping all those that needed a little bit of advice and help.
Well, there's only half a blow between those 2 down here on stands 5 and 6 now, Ian, with New Zealand at just half a blow in front or behind. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. Sweeney from South Africa's up the neck, and he'll break the neck will open. It's a tough one. Then we look at Gareth Owens and Kevin Ford. Nothing much between those 2. We've got 3 sets going here by the look of it. Ford and Owens. Gareth Owen from Wales, Ford from United States of America. Then we look at stands 1 and 3, and it's Mark Armstrong and William Craig, both from Scotland, almost blow for blow. Just William Craig slightly ahead of Armstrong at the moment. Now we go back to the leaders. You can start giving them a bit of encouragement now. There's only 2 sheep left in the pen for those 2. And it's Sweeney on stand number 5. Is he slightly ahead? It looks as though he's working his way into that long blow position, and McConnell does the same on stand number 6. Come on, you Kiwis out there. He might like to hear you shout, and so might the South African. Come on, give them a bit of support as they go round the long blow, and it's almost together. Sweeney turns on to the last side. Has he turned too quick? McConnell takes an extra blow, and he turns now onto the last side as well on stand number 6. This is the World Blade Shearing Wairarapa semi-final. My goodness, the Wairarapa Moana, they are the sponsors. Fantastic sponsors. Let's have their insignia up on the big screen if we can. Wairarapa Moana. Sponsors here at the Golden Shears, Ian, and they're absolutely fantastic organisation.
Yes, it's all on here now. What a spectacle this is. It's South Africa and New Zealand at the moment on stands 5 and 6. Mike McConnell is really hooking in there, but it's Sweeney from South Africa who's going to get the drop first. And in for sheep number 4, it looks like very little between them, but it might be the South African just that little bit ahead at the moment. Sweeney from South Africa there, Shearing on stand number 5, but Mike McConnell there on stand number 6, he's right there with him now as well. Who's going to get the drop first? It's Sweeney from South Africa, it is, and out he comes now with another sheep on the board. But Mike McConnell, your local hero, their host country, he's right there as well. Out that back leg now, just cleaning up that sock, and he'll be soon in there for another sheep as well. In for sheep number 4. This is a real spectacle. The Golden Shears World Blade Shearing semi-final, from which the top 6 will go to the World Final. And it's Mike McConnell it is. Come on, get behind him and cheer him on. He's out now with another sheep on the board. Don't forget the Scotsman up here on stand number 1, William Craig, doing a beautiful job here. The experienced Kevin Ford from the USA, shearing on stand number 2. Mark Armstrong, another Scotsman there on stand number 3. And there has to be a few people here from Wales to support Gareth Owen on stand number 4. It's all on here. What a spectacle this is. And of course the judges here on the boards, they are looking for any second cutting of the wool to do, making sure to take off the wool cleanly each time to close those blades. The judges out the back will be looking for a nice level finish job, an even finish job, not right down to the skin in one place and maybe 7 or 8 or 10 mil of wool left in another. They'll be like looking for an even cover right all over the sheep. But it's still, the real battle is on down there on stands 5 and 6. Sweeney from South Africa and the host country's own Mike McConnell shearing on stand number 6.
Yes, and we look along the board there at Sweeney, and he is using that left hand tremendously well to hold the fleece, to keep it from pulling away, to stop cutting the animal. And he's using that left hand right in front, and so too is Mike McConnell. Look how left hand is so close to those razor-sharp shears that if he got his finger in it, they'd go. And down the last side comes Sweeney on his 4th sheep. He's only got 1 left in the pen, and he's starting to make impression now. As I said, he likes to come from behind, and he's done that. He's now in front, and he's starting to work away from the rest of the field. Mike trying desperately to hold him in place because he knows that every second behind will be penalties against him in time. He knows that the South African has got good quality. He's got good quality, so it comes down to how quick you are in getting those sheep shorn. And it's Sweeney finishing off his 4th sheep, 1 left in the pen. Gareth Owen, he's 1 sheep behind, so too is Mark Armstrong and William Craig from Scotland. Kevin Ford is also 1 sheep behind, and he's working his way out on the front shoulder. There's, as you say, there's 3 competitions here, but at certain levels there's 3 competitions with the number of sheep, but we do have the less experienced, mainly because they don't have the sheep to shear by hand in their respective countries of the USA, Scotland and Wales. Like South Africa, they're shearing around about 9 to 10 million sheep per year by hand. In New Zealand, it would be round about 1 million by the sound of things. there's something in the region of about 50 hand shearers left in New Zealand, where 2 or 3 years ago there was a couple of hundred. Seems a bit of a tragedy that this has happened, but the sheep industry has gone through difficult times and is now starting to come back again, and hopefully the hand shearers will start to revive. And there we have Mike McConnell finishing off his 4th sheep, and he'll be into the pen, and Sweeney has really taken off.
Well,
He's
we've got
going
to
up
change
this
the
road.
blades down here, Ian, so Mike wants a little bit better cut as he brings out that last sheep. Going to get right into that first line. A bit of a struggle there for Sweeney on stand number 5, but we've seen that happen with him all the way through, so he must just hold them a little bit different. Gareth Owen from Wales brings out another one on stand number 4. Then we look at Armstrong on 3. Then Kevin Ford, and he just finished that one, and it almost went down the porthole and decided to come back and go the other way. Now it's down the porthole. A little bit of extra energy there that perhaps he didn't want to spend, but he'll bring his next one out onto the board. That'll be sheep number, what is it for him? Ooh, second one of his long wool. Back onto the board. He's got 1 sheep left in the pen for Kevin Ford. The last one's out on the board on stands 5 and 6. Gareth owns 1 left. We go and have a look now on stand number 1. William Craig from Scotland. Away down the last side he comes. Still shearing very nicely. They're back off the pace, but nonetheless, as Ian said, they don't have quite the practice, the sheep to practice on that New Zealand and South Africa do. Around the long blow now for Sweeney on stand 5. Up the neck and round behind the ears for McConnell. He's tried so hard to get ahead, if not only keep up. But this man Sweeney is just so good. Is he going to be the new world champion? Well, let's find out later on. But first, he's got to make it out of these semi-finals and into the final. The top 6, of course. 6 more shearers to come. The top 6 will then go into the final tonight in that World Blade Shearing Championship competition. And George, I'm sure it's not going to be that easy to get into that final. You've got to be right up there with the pace as well as the quality.
You certainly need both things to be there. The pace and the quality is extremely important, but a lot of shearers have both of these things, and that's how it's going to be so difficult to get there. Watch this man from South Africa, Sweeney, go. Now is the time you South African supporters should get behind your man and cheer him on. And New Zealand, you should get there as well and make a real battle out of this. It's their final sheep there. Come on, let us hear it for him. It's New Zealand and South Africa. Who's it going to be? It looks like Sweeney from South Africa. On stand number 5, and Sweeney it is. He pushes the red button. Now you have Mike McConnell down there, the New Zealander, shearing on stand number 6. He turns for home down the money side of his 6th or 5th and final sheep. Down he comes. He stuck to the task really well, this Mike McConnell, and he's probably saying, if I had had another one of the sponsors to he last night, I'd probably go that little bit harder. But he hopes to get to this big final and do well and have a couple of good ones tonight. That's Mike McConnell there on stand number 6. Turns her home. Down to the shoulder he comes. But don't forget, up here in stand number 1, William Craig for Scotland. Just look at the scores up there. Look at the quality of some of these shears. It's a real spectacle. Kevin Ford from the USA is on 2. Mark Armstrong from Scotland, he's on 3. And there should be a few Welsh people, because your own Gareth Owen, he's shearing there on stand number 4. Come on, you get behind him and cheer him on. It's the Golden Shears World Blade Shearing semi-final. But New Zealanders, I should hear you shout now and cheer on. It's Mike McConnell, it is. Out to the back leg he goes. Out the last side. His 5th and final sheep. The Golden Shears World Blade Shearing semi-final. Come on, you Kiwis, get behind your man there and give him a bit of support. Yes, that's the way. We want to hear him. He's going faster and faster all the time. The great Mike McConnell.
Give him a hand.
Well done,
well done,
Mike McConnell.
So Mike McConnell has his 5 sheep down the porthole. Now we concentrate on stands 1, 2, 3 and 4. And it's Gareth Owen from Wales with 1 sheep left in the pen. Kevin Ford as well, and there's nothing much between those two at the moment. So USA versus Wales at the moment in this first semi-final. The 2 Scotsmen. Craig just a little bit ahead of Armstrong. But anything could happen there. It looks like Mark Armstrong might have 5 on the board. Is that right? We'll have to check and see. He may have another one. Right out onto the back hock goes Gareth Owen.
How many sheep left in number 1? Is there still 1 sheep to go?
Away down that last side, just shearing very nicely. The man in the red singlet with the dragon on it from Wales. You can see their flags in the top left-hand corner of those those screen monitors up above each porthole on each stand. Fantastic the way they've got this technology. And of course, this is so very important for these worlds. That's exactly what Golden Shears wanted. Now he's just about ready to finish off. He'll pop this one down the porthole. Just a few more blows to go, but Kevin Ford from the USA is not very far away on stand 2 as well. So come on, you United States of America team members, you should be giving them a bit of encouragement. Come on, Wales, here we go. We're in there for another one. That'll be number 5 for him. He's back on the board with his 5th and final sheep. Gareth Owen from Wales, just into that first hind leg they start. Holding that wool back with his left hand. You can see his fingers spread, making it very useful, and Kevin Ford has got that one straight down the porthole this time. Says, I want a change of blades, and he does so, and he's in for number 5. So, George, he's shearing very well, this man from USA.
Yes,
I well remember seeing him in 1998 in Ireland, and he's still, I think he's been to every world champ since.
Yes, I don't think he's missed one since. That's that Kevin Ford there, the man from the USA, shearing on stand number 2. On stand number 3 of Mark Armstrong with his 5th and final sheep on the board, as has the Scotsman, the Scotsman there on 3, and the Welshman is on stand number 4, Gareth Owen. He's up the neck there as well with his final sheep. And don't forget William Craig from Scotland here, doing a quality job on stand number 1. Just look at those points up there. Some great quality shearing here. You're watching the Olympics here of blade shearing. Who's it going to be next? Mark Armstrong. He's opening up them big shoulders now, and he's really setting the pace. He turns her home down the money side of the sheep now, of his 5th and final sheep for Mark Armstrong. Just that little bit yellow there around the neck, but he's really coming on now and pushing hard. Kevin Ford from the USA, he's up the neck there now on stand number 2. William Craig, the finishing touch is going in, and he'll be soon in for his 5th and final sheep. Come on, you Welsh people. Is there anyone here from Wales at all? You see Gareth Owen down there on stand number 4. You should be getting behind him and cheering him on. Give him a bit of support. This is hard work up there. Kevin Ford from the USA now. William Craig, the Scotsman. He comes out now with his 5th and final sheep on the board. So all competitors there now with their final sheep on the board. Stands 1, 2, 3 and 4. Who's it going to be next? It looks like Mark Armstrong from Scotland there, shearing on stand number 3. Down the money side of the sheep he comes. Down to the flank he goes. Gareth Owen from Wales there. He's hooking in there now as well, shearing on stand number 5. Come on, let's hear that Welsh accent there. Cheer him on and give him a bit of support. But it's going to be Mark Armstrong, the Scotsman, shearing on stand number 2. Down to the flank he goes and out that back leg. But Gareth Owen, the Welshman, is coming back at him now every time he closes those blades. He's a real flyer this time, the Welshman. But it's going to be big Mark Armstrong. Down he comes. Out that back leg he goes. Kevin Ford is right there as well. Now he's down into those long blows, if there is such a thing in blade shearing. Don't forget William Craig, the Scotsman. He's shearing here on stand number 1. Gareth Owen from Wales. Come on, cheer him on. But if your Scots people cheer a bit harder, Mark Armstrong will finish all the quicker. Out the back
Give
leg,
him
and
a
it's
hand.
Mark
Whoa.
Armstrong.
He's got
one left in the pen.
Well, he's got one more sheep, I think. They've got
well,
the numbers
he's got
wrong
one
up
left
there.
in the pen. The numbers are incorrect.
5 competition sheep they had to shear. Now they've got number 5 and they've got it right. But the next one off is going to be Gareth Owens from Wales on stand number 4. And this man from USA who's been to nearly every World Championships from way back. Way back in 1998 indeed.
Phil, I'd like the audience to appreciate just the closing, the fitness levels of the right hand of a blade shearer in shearing 100 sheep a day, and how many times he closes those shears in a day in his normal working element. It must be outstanding, and that's why it's so important for when they're coming up here. Their wrists will be tired, they'll be very, very sore. The thumb pushes down onto the fingers and closes from the top blade, pushing down onto the bottom blade to give it a nice even cut over the body. And these men have to get that fitness of that wrist and hand up. But the first thing shearers happen every year when they start is they blow their wrists and invariably have to go through the pain or have a few days off to let it recover. And there we have down there Gareth. Give him a hand. Look, he's only got 1 or 2 to go and he's finished. Where are you Welsh people? Come on, Gareth, you little beauty. There he goes. Push the button.
Well, he stands up and he's got a wee wry smile on his face. Has a suck in a bit of fresh air, and he says, well, I've done my very best. I hope I make it to the finals. The rest is in the judges out the back. Kevin Ford from USA, ladies and gentlemen, right here on stand number 2. He's got his time taken. Give him a big hand on stand 2 there, United States of America. Here at the World Shearing Championships in New Zealand once again. And on stand number 1, William Craig from Scotland. Down over that last side, he goes right out onto the back hock. Now we've got Mark Armstrong from Scotland on stand number 3. He's down over that last front shoulder.
The proverbial sign of a half-shot pocket knife is when Kevin Ford stood up. He was still in the arch position.
Now down over that last front shoulder again, Mark Armstrong for the 5th time here in the semi-final, hoping he's done enough. William Craig from Scotland on stand number 1 as this semi-final starts to draw to a close. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. William Craig.
Good on you, William.
Stands up, shakes his hand and says, oh boy, it's a lot of fun, this sport. Way down the last side now on heat number 1 of this semi-finals.
And Mark Armstrong has really decided, I'm not going to be too far behind. I don't want to be shearing up here too long on my own. And he's really has ploughed off that last sheep of his. And down he comes. He's only got 1 or 2 blows to go, and he's made up a tremendous amount of ground. So whether or not he kept that good one for last or decided he's not going to be there in front of an audience watching him shear too long on his own. And he's certainly put that sheep out in a very, very quick time, and he's only got 1 or 2 blows to go. And the man from Scotland, there it is. Well done, Mark.
Give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. As they leave the stage and we prepare for heat 2, so it was Craig, Ford, Armstrong, Owen, Sweeney and McConnell in the first heat. Well, we come to heat 2 as they load the pens, and of course they load them again with 2 Corriedales and 3 Longwool sheep, and our names will go up just as soon as the judges have finished judging out the back. Wairarapa Moana, they are the sponsors, and they've been sponsors here for a number of years now, a huge organisation, and it's a great pleasure to have them back here as sponsors, and we'll be seeing them a little later on, their representatives, when it comes to prize giving. I only hope they are here watching this afternoon.